Welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a really fascinating case. It's out of Lucknow, India.
Mhm.
Police there recently uncovered and, well, dismantled this remarkably sophisticated digital bank fraud ring.
Yeah, it's quite the operation they had going.
Right. So, our goal today is to really dig into the incredibly clever yet, deeply deceptive tactics these criminals were using, and just as importantly, how law enforcement actually managed to track them down.
Absolutely.
You might be surprised by just how meticulously these scams are orchestrated and why understanding their inner workings is absolutely crucial for you in our increasingly digital world.
Yeah, I think what this case truly shows is the ingenuity of modern fraudsters, but also, on the flip side, the equally impressive dedication and evolving strategies of cybercrime investigators.
Okay, so where do we start with this story? The core news is
Yeah.
law enforcement in Lucknow, working hand in hand with their cybercrime cell, successfully shut down an interstate cyber fraud operation.
And that interstate part is key, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, these criminals weren't just operating locally in Lucknow. Their network stretched across different states,
Right. Makes it much harder to track.
which makes their reach and, frankly, their takedown all the more significant.
Right.
This investigation ultimately led to the arrest of two individuals from Delhi.
And what's particularly striking here, I think, is the main accusation against this pair. They weren't just like simple fishers sending out mass emails.
Yeah.
No, they were actually developing and using these highly convincing counterfeit bank websites and mobile applications too,
Oh.
all designed specifically to illicitly get credit card details and, well, funds from loads of victims. It was
Yeah.
like a whole ecosystem built for deception.
Okay, let's break down the specific steps then. The deception tactics.
Mhm.
These arrested individuals allegedly masterminded a scheme, creating these incredibly convincing replicas of legitimate bank portals and apps. But
Engineering became so critical.
right.
They didn't just put up fake sites and hope people stumbled on them. They weaponized impersonation. They'd call up people posing as customer service representatives from big, well-known, trusted financial institutions.
So invoking a name you'd instantly recognize and likely trust.
Exactly. It wasn't just some random call. It was designed to build that immediate false sense of security.
And you mentioned the initial contact wasn't victims reaching out for help, which is often how these things start.
Correct. The fraudsters were the ones making the first move. Cold calling.
Yeah.
Initiating unsolicited phone calls to potential victims.
How were they finding these people? Was it just random dialing or more targeted?
You know, it's often a mix. Sometimes it is just mass dialing, a numbers game. But increasingly, these rings use data harvested from, say, previous data breaches, or even just publicly available info to tailor their approach a bit.
Okay.
But once they had someone on the line, that's when the real psychological game began. They'd offer these enticing but, totally fake services.
Like what kind of bait were they using?
Think about things people want or fear regarding their finances. So offers like instant increases in credit card limits
Ah, tempting.
or activating fictitious insurance benefits, sometimes urgent account verifications playing on fear there, or even assistance with non-existent card closures.
Okay, I see the pattern.
Yeah, notice the common thread. It's always leveraging either greed, get something extra like a higher credit limit, or fear something bad will happen, like your account being closed.
Right. Universal human motivator.
Precisely. They target those to make you drop your guard even for a second.
So, okay, they've hooked the victim with a compelling story over the phone. What's the next step? How do they actually get the sensitive details? That's where the fake links came in, right?
Exactly. Once a victim was engaged, seemed convinced, the fraudsters would pivot. They'd send a link,
Yeah.
often via SMS or maybe WhatsApp, something common.
And these links, they didn't go to the real bank site, obviously.
No, they led directly to trouble.
Oh.
They were designed to get victims to download fraudulent Android package kit files, APKs, essentially fake apps that look real,
Oh.
or to visit those meticulously crafted counterfeit websites we mentioned earlier.
And it sounds like the visual deception here, making them look real, was
Yeah.
absolutely crucial.
Oh, it was. Massively important. The interfaces of these fake apps and sites were carefully designed. They mirrored the genuine banking services right down to the logos, the color schemes, the layout.
So at a glance.
At a glance, or even under a bit of pressure, it would be incredibly difficult for an unsuspecting person to spot the fraud.
Hmm.
especially if they're already feeling stressed or rushed from the phone call itself.
Right, so the victim sees this familiar-looking interface. They're probably feeling rushed, maybe a little anxious from the call,
Huh.
and they enter their sensitive information, credit card numbers, expiry dates, those CVV codes, the 3 or 4-digit security code on the card.
Yeah.
They type it into these fake platforms. What happens the moment they hit enter?
The fraudsters immediately gain access. In that very instant, the data is compromised. It's sent straight to them.
Wow, instantly.
Yeah. And if we connect this to the sort of bigger picture of their whole operation, you see a clear pattern. They weren't just collecting data for later.
No, what were they doing?
They immediately use those stolen details to conduct online purchases.
Ah, okay. So they're not just after the data itself, they're turning it into goods. Almost like a, I don't know, a twisted loyalty program fraud. What kind of items were they buying?
Exactly. They specifically focused on high-value items, things like mobile phones, electronic gadgets.
Things that are easy to sell on.
Precisely. Easily resellable, relatively untraceable once sold. Ideal for quickly converting those stolen card details into cash or other assets.
And here's the part that always gets me, the final kind of terrifying trick. To finalize these online transactions, victims were often tricked into providing the crucial one-time password, the OTP, sent by their actual bank.
The final security step.
That's the ultimate key to authorizing a payment. So the really big question is, how on earth did they convince people to give up that OTP? Most of us have heard warnings, never share your OTP.
They weaponize urgency and fear of missing out or fear of loss. It's pure psychological manipulation.
Can you give an example?
Sure. The fraudster on the phone, still playing the role of the bank rep, might claim, okay, the purchase is processing, but there's an issue. We need the OTP sent to your phone right now to confirm it's you and stop potential fraud. Or, maybe, your account is being closed right now due to suspicious activity. Only this OTP can verify you and keep it open.
Wow, intense pressure.
Or maybe for the greed angle, this is the final verification step for your credit limit increase. If you don't give me the OTP now, the offer's gone forever. They create this panic state, put the victim under immense psychological pressure.
So you stop thinking rationally.
That's the goal. Shut down rational thought. Make the victim believe that if they don't provide that OTP immediately, something terrible will happen, or they'll miss out on something great. It's really a masterclass in emotional manipulation.
It really is. It's as much about psychology as it is about technology, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The tech gets them to the door, but the psychology gets them inside.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. How did this whole elaborate scheme finally unravel? How did law enforcement close in?
Well, it started, as these things often do, with a victim. A formal complaint was lodged by a resident of Lucknow who had been defrauded of a substantial amount of money.
One person finally reported it.
Right. And that complaint triggered a very methodical investigation by the cyber cell. They initiated a thorough technical investigation.
What did that involve? Sounds complex.
It is. It involved meticulous surveillance. Sometimes that means monitoring known scam numbers, using intelligence databases. They also did extensive call detail analysis, CDR analysis.
Looking at phone records.
Yeah, but it's more than just who called whom. It's about finding patterns, tracking the physical locations of the phones, using cell tower data, cross-referencing numbers, and crucially, tracing the digital footprints.
How do they trace digital footprints?
That could be following the illicit online money transfers, tracking the IP addresses used to access or manage the fake websites, looking at server logs, basically following the electronic trail.
So connecting the virtual crime to real-world locations.
Exactly. And this sophisticated digital forensics work ultimately led the authorities directly to the suspects in Delhi.
And when they raided their premises, what did they find? What was recovered?
Quite a haul, actually. A significant amount of evidence was seized. A number of mobile phones, which you'd expect.
Yeah.
Numerous active SIM cards from various providers, likely used for the cold calling and maybe for registering accounts. A laptop, computer peripherals, and a considerable amount of cash.
Cash, okay.
All of these items are believed to be either proceeds from the fraud or the actual tools they used to carry it out.
And is the investigation over? Or is there more to come?
Oh, it's definitely not over.
Yeah.
It's important to note that authorities are continuing their investigation. They're trying to identify additional victims. There are likely many more, and to fully figure out the true extent of this criminal enterprise. It could be much bigger.
Right. So, wrapping this up, what does this all mean for us? I mean, this case really illustrates the incredible lengths criminals will go to. They're blending advanced technical skills with some seriously manipulative social engineering.
It does. But, it also highlights the equally impressive and diligent work of law enforcement. They're constantly having to evolve their tactics to track down these sophisticated rings. It's a constant cat and mouse game.
Yeah, you can see that.
And I think understanding these methods, from the fake websites, the way they look, to the psychological tricks they use to get that OTP understanding
Yeah.
is truly your first and honestly your best defense against becoming a victim yourself.
Vigilant.
Vigilance, exactly.
Mhm.
And knowing what specific red flags to look out for, it's just paramount in our digital world. You can't afford not to know this stuff.
So for you, the listener, maybe we can leave you with this thought. In this increasingly digital world, where the lines between what's authentic and what's deceptive are getting constantly blurred, how can we, as individuals, really sharpen our critical thinking? How can we better navigate these hidden dangers?
Hmm.
And maybe what responsibility do we all share in pausing, taking a breath, and verifying the authenticity of every digital interaction, especially when urgency or some amazing offer suddenly enters the picture?